In this video, before you start a high ticket sales job, I'm going to teach you how to figure out exactly how much money you're going to make in that job. So when you're going on these high ticket sales interviews, you need to be asking them two questions. The first question is, how much money is your business making every month? And the second question is, do you have consistent booked calendar of sales calls? Are you getting inbound leads? Are there sales calls on the calendar for me, the salesperson, to take? Now, the reason you want to ask these questions is this. You're trying to verify your on-target earnings that they are telling you you're going to make. So think about any job posting you see. They say you will get paid this much or this much. But since this is sales and what you're going to make is going to vary month to month, sometimes they will just completely lie and totally make up the numbers. So you just want to know if they're basing the numbers off of the money that the business is currently making and also what their past salespeople have made in this role, or do they not make any money at all and they're just making it up and lying to you? This is an important distinction. So I'm going to do a couple examples. I'm going to do a setter example and a closer example. And if you get the numbers that I'm going to talk about, you can tell how much you're going to make. It is just math. Guaranteed you will know beforehand. Now, quick story. And this has happened many times, but I had a guy in my program that was going on interviews recently and they were going well. He comes back to me after one of these interviews and he says, hey, I just had this interview. It went really well. They told me my on-target earnings were going to be $12K a month. And I'm like, cool, that's awesome. He's like, yeah, I can start right away. I'm going to start on Monday, blah, blah, blah. And I said, all right, well, before you accept the offer, let's get their numbers. Let's ask them some questions because he didn't verify this information beforehand. So I sent him back with questions and he comes back and he tells me, well, actually, the product that they're selling is kind of new and they haven't actually really sold it yet. So they don't have any revenue numbers and they don't really have any of the data that I had sent him to get. This is a huge red flag, by the way, because a business person or a business shouldn't be hiring a salesperson when they haven't even sold this product yet. There's no reason to hire a salesperson yet. They don't have a proof of concept and a record of good revenue, so how could the business know what the salesperson is going to make? They haven't even made a lot of money yet. So I told him, I was like, don't take the job. This is probably not a good idea, but he didn't listen. He said that he had a good interview, he really liked the guy, and he wanted to accept. And I said, okay, cool, you're going to get screwed. Fast forward like a month or so later, he comes back and everything I said was true. He got screwed, he made no money, all because he accepted a job that he shouldn't have. So what is going to happen when you go on these interviews is they're all going to tell you that the job is great and that you're going to make all this money, right? They're never going to tell you, oh, we suck, we don't make any money, I don't really know what I'm doing, right? No one's going to tell you that. They want you, the salesperson, to accept the job and just work for no pay and hopefully generate them leads and money that they haven't been able to do themselves yet. That's why someone who's not making any money yet in business hires a salesperson, because he can't fucking figure it out. So he's like, well, I must need a salesperson. I'll have him generate the leads and do the sales, but he hasn't been able to do it himself. It's like, well, you're the problem, Mr. Business Owner, you know? So what you need to do is you need to ask questions to find out what's really going on. And here is how. Now, let's start with an appointment setter example. So let's say it's a fitness coaching program and they say that you as the setter are going to make $6,000 a month. They expect you to work 20 days a month. They want you to book 4 calls a day. That's 80 calls booked a month. And the expected close rate of those calls is going to be 20%. That means you're going to get credit for 16 sales because 20% of 80 is 16. Now your commission, pretty standard, is going to be 5% as an appointment setter. And the price of this program is $6,000. 16 sales times $6,000 is $96K. And 5% of $96K is $4,800. So you almost made $5K, which isn't bad, and it's close to the OTE that they quoted you, but it is below. Now, this is going to vary because you're probably not going to get all paid in fulls, and they aren't paying, or are they paying you on cash collected or revenue? That's very important, but you get the idea. If you know how many days you will work a month how many calls you as the setter are expected to set a day, the expected close rate, factor in the ticket price and your commission rate. With these numbers, you can calculate, okay, are they bullshitting me or am I going to make legit money, right? So you can take any claim that an interviewer gives you on what your OTE is going to be and figure out if it's legit or not so that you don't get screwed, basically. And remember, this is an example, and this is if you are the only appointment setter. If there are other appointment setters, you need to get the total revenue for the previous month and how many setters they have, and then you need to divide that evenly. Again, to be clear, it's not going to be 100% accurate to the decimal point, but it will give you a very accurate idea of what you could possibly make. The point is just to see if they're bullshitting you, okay? Or if they're being honest about what your on-target earnings, the range is probably going to be. If they're being honest, then you will probably be able to make what they're quoting you. Because many businesses are going to do what the business in the story did, and I've seen this exact example, more times than I could count. They're going to try to hire a setter or a closer before they need one because they're lazy and they don't want to do that work. A good example of the situation you're looking for is when an online business owner runs the business up by himself that he's now so swamped with leads and sales calls that he himself is generated and is taking that he's forced to go and hire salespeople. That is the businesses where you're going to make all the money, where this train is already steaming down the tracks. Not where the guy's like, fuck, I couldn't make this work. Let me just go hire this random beginner salesperson and have him try to get this massive locomotive going. Okay? In the internet age, a good business owner learns how to do every part of the business himself before he hires someone. How else would he be able to teach that person how to do this role when he's never done it? Or and then another point, how would he even know if the person he is hiring is competent in this role? You know, how would he know that they know what they're talking about? He's never done it. Like, this is what no one understands about business. If you want to run a business and you think you could just hire your way to making tons of money and you never have to learn how to do that part of the business because some guy on Instagram or YouTube told you he did that, your reality is going to bend you over ruthlessly. A huge thing these days is people going and buying businesses, right? Oh, boomers are getting old. You can just go and buy their business, bro, take it over. But you've never run this business before. You know how many moving parts and things that boomer learned over decades to make that business successful? And you think you're just going to buy it and do no work and it's just going to run? It's immediately going to explode. It's immediately going to tank. This is happening all the time. You can even see on like Hormozi's videos, people are calling in and they're like, oh, I bought this business and I realize now that I have no idea what I'm doing and it's fucking losing money and tanking and I went into all this debt to buy this business. Like, yeah, you're an idiot. You tried to take the easy way, the lazy way, like every business owner I'm talking about in this video, and you're getting screwed. If you want to run a business and you think you can just hire your way to making tons of money, you're an idiot without having to learn those skills. Now, let's do a closer role. And this is if you are the only closer. And you can factor in number of closers later, depending on the role, if they have a sales team. So for an example, let's say you're selling an Amazon FBA program, and they're telling you your OTE is going to be $15K a month, 1.5. So the program costs $5K. They did $80K in revenue last month. They want you to take calls 20 days a month. You're expected to take 5 calls a day. Closing percentage is 20%, and your commission, pretty standard, is 10% for closers. So out of 100 calls, you close 20 of them, and you get paid 10% of $5,000, which is $500 for every sale. So 20 times 500 is 10K, $10,000. Now, that's not bad money, but it's not the 15,000 that they quoted you. That's a substantial difference, right? And if you're a beginner, you're thinking, oh, well, I'll take the 10K, but that's not the point. This is just an example. The point is to show you how to determine if they're telling you or what they're telling you you're going to make is legitimate or not. And you can do this with numbers and math. This is also, in general, a good way to prove that high ticket closing, high ticket sales is legit When people say, oh, it's saturated, you'll never make that much, or oh, it's hard to make 10K, they're just idiots who have no achievements, who consume all of their knowledge from a screen, yet they have no real world experience. Math tells you that this is legit. There is no argument. That's why it's so funny to me. But people need to have excuses as to why they are total failures. And remember, it's important to ask how many setters or closers they currently have. You need to know if you're going to be the only one or if they already have salespeople in place. So if they do have salespeople in place, you'll have to divide the monthly revenue by the number of setters or closers on the team. And there's even more specific numbers that you can add into this and go even deeper and get the exact picture of what's going on. These are not even all the numbers. You could do call show rate. There's tons of other factors. But with the ones that I've given you, you're going to get pretty close to knowing what you'll be making. And that's the entire point of this, is just to make sure, am I accepting a good opportunity or a bad opportunity? So when it comes to evaluating jobs, just look at the information that you can get from them, analyze it, and then make an informed decision and just do something. This will help you know if they're lying to you or if they're shooting you straight and they're legit. And if you do what I talk about in this video, you just ask a couple of very simple questions on the interview, you can avoid a really bad situation and possibly wasting 3 months of your life in a shitty sales role going down the drain. And you can just move on instead, not accept that job, find an actual legit role and go make money. That's the end of the video. If you want my help getting a closer role or a setter role, go to the links in the description. Until next time.